All right. And we're back. Happy Friday, Tim.
Yes, it feels like a long week, and we're on the holiday season stretch, aren't we? So not until a new year.
Yeah, and it feels a little weird for me because usually the time between Thanksgiving and New Year's, it feels like a dead time. You can't get anything done. You're still putting out a few emails here and there, but everyone's saying, get back to me in January. But I'm busy. I'm booked up with meetings. I'm writing, I'm creating videos, and it's all fun, good stuff. So I'm having a great holiday so far.
Absolutely, it's a lot going on in the industry, as always.
Yes, and we have a lot to talk about. Before we get into some industry, you sent me some great notes I'm looking at. I want to talk one about the biggest stories in our or any industry, biggest stories in the world, which is the debacle at OpenAI. Do you want to give your take on it first, or?
I, I'm. It feels like something from Great Game of Thrones. I wonder whether or not there's a revolving door in their offices. You know, it just seems like he's in, he's out, they're in, they're out. Then a show of strength from the Salesforce. From the workforce saying, if he goes, I'm going. I mean, it's incredible. It's amazing.
It didn't seem real at times when Microsoft was about that was if that had happened at one point it looked like Microsoft was just going to hire everyone from OpenAI, which basically is like a because it's all about the people. It's their talent. That's like acquiring $100 billion company for free. For free. They basically almost got one of the coolest, hottest companies in the world for free, and that almost happened. That was amazing. But now it's back to OpenAI is still going to exist. Sam is back. The board is all gone except for one managed to say, "I don't know what happened. It wasn't my fault. I was just going along with those three bad people," and it just seems unreal and incredible to me.
Well, what it has highlighted to me is the reliance that Microsoft have clearly got on OpenAI. I mean, they made a 10 billion plus investment in them. They clearly want to get their money's worth, but it's clearly, I mean, Copilot everywhere at Ignite is clearly a pivotal strategy for Microsoft to grow the business
Oh
and
yeah.
grow the revenues. So it really has underpinned to me this reliance on this partnership.
And the latest news I saw, I think this is from The Verge, is that well, you see, Microsoft is getting a seat on the board. It's a non-voting seat, but they now they have transparency. They had no visibility into what was happening, and now Microsoft is, oh, they got the fingers in there, and that's probably a good thing because they needed some supervision. I have kind of a stupid take on it, just to be funny, but I think a lot of people when they think of OpenAI, they think, oh, that's the Chat GPT company, and yes and no. They're known for ChatGPT, but what they want to be, what they're trying to be, is the first company that achieves AGI. And AGI is alternative general intelligence. We know what AI is. You put the G in there. That's the next step in our evolution as people. I mean, that is a big deal. You know, AI is smarter than us at some things. AI can beat me at chess. AI can do a better job at framing a video conference than I can do. It could do a better job now, I have to admit it, at summarizing a meeting than I can do. I could definitely do a better job at reducing noise in the background. I have no idea he had to do that at all. But it's not as smart as us at everything. AGI is going to be the first bot that is as smarter than a person at everything. And that is exciting and terrifying. There's all these ethical implications. What if it decides, to terminate us? Is it going to be evil? Can it help us? Is it going to hurt us? And it's really freaking people out. And the thing is, what Sam was trying to do is, so here's how smart AI is now, and here's how smart people are. So what Sam was trying to do is make AI smarter to get to AGI. It seemed like what the board tried to do is act so stupid that they reduce the collective intelligence of humanity. Like that's their way of reducing that gap. It's just making a joke about the fact that what this board did is going to go down in history as the stupidest thing that ever happened.
Yeah, and I think you emphasize a good point there. Depends where you put the G in AI, isn't it? If it's at the beginning, it's generative, which means it can only iterate on what you have done and do intelligent summaries and be like a cliff note to your long page report. And one thing that we have found from our surveys is that AI driven features are being valued equally. So a lot of people see that meeting summaries are table stakes, that they should be given away for free. That might have some implications for Microsoft Teams premium licenses. I don't know. But yeah, you've got this. I think what we'll find is that AI will eventually disappear into the background, or generative AI will disappear in the background, and will just become one of those core features that everyone expects. A personal assistant, for example, or an assistant for agents to help with customer queries and calls. But that is the big way forward, is almost when it becomes sentient, and when it's able to act on its own based on various inputs. That's where I think we're going in the future. I don't know how long it's going to take to get there.
Yeah, some people are saying 3 to 5 years. Some people are saying 10 to 20 years. But I think it's a matter of time. And when Copilot becomes pilot, I mean, that's basically what it is, right? When Copilot becomes pilot, that's going to be a big game changer. It's going to change things. But let's go on to your notes. Let me on my mouse here. Let's get Sam off the screen. You brought up one thing already. Not all AI-driven features are being valued equally. And I think they're also not all... it's not all the same. Like, we're putting them all into the same bucket when there's significant differences. One thing that keeps coming back to my mind is what we learned at WebEx1, that their AI doesn't just look at the text. It looks at tone of voice and body language. That seems to me, it's not just a different value of the feature. It's a different value of I'm not finding the right words for it, but how the AI is even generated.
Different source, perhaps, is that the word you're looking for? It's building upon various different sources to get a better, broader picture than just text. And that's great when you start, if you're dealing with a sarcastic Brit that, is sort of, oh yeah, well, you really, you can tell from my body language if I'm being sarcastic, I hope. But you can't always tell from text. And that's why we invented emojis, of course. So as a composite, bringing in all those different sources, it can add an extra layer of value. Yeah.
Yeah, a much higher level of understanding. Let's go through some of the other trends. This is kind of like an early predictions for 2024 is a way of looking at it. You mentioned, this always makes me crazy. There's still a long tail of premise-based PBX. A big change in topic here, but it's something that just every year I go to these Enterprise Connect and Infocom, go to these events, and I sit on or watch a panel where someone like Tim or Elka from Frost and Sullivan who knows this stuff. I focus on video, and they'll talk about how many hardware PBXs are still out there. I'm like, are you guys crazy? You must be lying. I can't believe the numbers. Cloud is so easy. You sign up for an account and you log in and you have phone service everywhere, and people are still buying boxes that they have to have in a rack. What am I missing?
Well, some people are buying boxes. Some people are merely retaining what they've got. So we see this in certain geographies where you might not have great broadband penetration. Some North African countries, for example, might not have that degree of broadband penetration. They certainly got a lot of mobile penetration. But there's also key verticals like retail, hospitality. I remember once using a phone in a hotel to set an alarm call. But of course, that's not always for the guests. It can also be for housekeeping to tell people, oh, we've run out of towels or we've run out of soap. But there's certain key verticals where a move to the cloud isn't really going to benefit anyone. And they're quite happy with what they've got. They maintain it. What they might do, of course, is complement what they have on the premise with cloud-based services. They might add on a conferencing component, or they might add on a asynchronous component or a mobile component. But they're not necessarily getting rid of the stuff that's lurking about in comms rooms in basements. So it's very persistent. It's going to be around for some time. That market, as we know, with vendors, it's consolidated. But it's still going to be there. And we're still going to have people looking at a hybrid deployment where you get the voice features on premise and you get the complementary features potentially from a service in the cloud.
And maybe this is what's the word I'm looking for? A compliment or a mark of pride for the designers of these PBXs, because they're still working, and they're still working so well that it's not just, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's working great. Why would I think about fixing it? Cloud schmoud. And that's what I'm understanding is there's so many problems in my business. Why do you want to mess with my phones? It's the one thing that works.
Yeah, and of course, there's some people for business continuity purposes. If the internet goes down, they still want to have the capability to make a phone call. So there is a business resilience continuity argument there. In the same way that we went onto the cloud for the pandemic, there's still a reason why you want to retain some of that on premise potentially. And we have seen, a lot of cloud-based services offer a premise-based component, an SBC on premise allows you to make phone calls, for example, a survivable gateway. If the internet goes down. And we know that cloud services are generally reliable, but there have been some significant outages along the years that have caused, services to drop. So yeah.
That does make sense to me. Although, to be honest, I'm so impressed with the reliability of our cloud services. I guess sometimes the internet itself could drop, but when the pandemic hit and all of a sudden those Zoom and Teams servers had to chug out 100 times or 1,000 times more meetings and everyone connecting, and yeah, it worked. It was fine. That I'm still amazed by that. But I could see, especially some businesses, if the entire internet goes down, we still need to be able to make calls internally.
Yeah. Yeah.
The next point you have is that businesses are becoming increasingly interested in mobile communication solutions that use the user's mobile number as the phone number for the UC service. I love that idea. Is that happening?
Oh yeah, that's happening in its droves. I mean, Microsoft Teams Mobile and also, trying to think of the name now, WebEx Go, I think.
Right.
A lot of these companies are looking at ways in which you can utilize the native dialer of your phone, rather than you having to go into the application, then making a voice over IP call over the data channel in order for you to make a phone call. I think this is going to be a huge topic. We call it business mobile convergence at Omdia. Long time ago, it used to be fixed mobile convergence. It never really took off, but now is the time. And technology developments like eSIMs, I was lucky enough to upgrade to an iPhone, and I decided to do away with that horrible little plastic card and the fiddly bit of, you have to get a paper clip and press it down the phone. I decided to do away with that and go for an eSIM. Now, the beauty of eSIM, of course, is that it's very quick to implement. Imagine a enterprise where you decide as an IT manager, I've got these people to onboard. I'll make use of their existing phone. They've got their own personal phones. I'll use it for business purpose. Bring your own device, BYOD. And I will, from a terminal, I will just allocate them an eSIM. It gets pushed as a message to the phone. They click accept, and then all of a sudden your phone is provisioned for business line as well. You leave the business, you do away with the eSIM. It's a very straightforward way to provision and bring people on board very quickly and leverage the devices that they've got. So significant cost savings, significant advantages in terms of administration and management. I think it's going to be a big area.
That was a great explanation. There's a lot of advantages there. I mean, obviously, we're all walking around with these high-powered computers. We should definitely leverage them for work. And what I love about it, it feels like it's a step on the way of solving one of our biggest problems, which is, I want to reach out to Tim. Do I call his phone, or do I reach him in Zoom chat, or do I send an email? If things are starting to get tied to your phone number, we might get to the point where I just open my contact lists and click on Tim, and AI will say, oh yeah, Tim's on Zoom chat, I'll send him a message or whatever. I love the idea of combining all that.
Yeah, and the other thing that's happened in the market, of course, is Apple's adoption of RCS, the Rich Communication Services, as a standard. So we are seeing some technology shifts towards this. So it's an area that's hotting up, and I think a lot of it is driven by this move towards hybrid working. We need to communicate and collaborate wherever we've got an internet connection. It doesn't matter if we're in the office or working from Starbucks or another coffee shop or from home. It doesn't matter. We just need to choose the device that we're going to reply on and have access to everything as quickly as we can.
Exactly. Just pick up the device and make the call. And right now it's just, I'm okay that we have a lot of services, but so many apps. It needs to help us. The next point you had is there's a strong preference for purchasing, UC as a service with your CC as a service, as opposed to getting them separate. I mean, the best vendors are offering both.
Yeah, well, we've seen over the course of the year, David, that Cisco are clearly moving in this way, and also Zoom have moved in this way. So it's unified communications and contact center as a service on the same platform. And we're trying to capitalize on the buzzword multicas here because it is the combination of both. Because if you're working in the frontline contact center, you need to get information, get feedback, get help from someone in the back office, an engineer, second line support, third line support, product managers, salespeople, to be able to use the same platform and be able to speak and engage on that issue together. There's a lot of value in that. You don't want to have separate platforms, separate information silos, separate data stores. If you can combine that all together on one platform, there's an awful lot of value. And of course, there's a wealth of information there that you can capitalize on with AI. You can make a lot of sense of those support calls. Essentially, these multicast platforms will become a customer data platform, allowing you to collect all that information from a single silo and also to be able to gain insights leveraging AI.
And that was one big thing I learned this year from all the traveling I did and the demos. I had come to terms with the fact that CC is part of our industry. It took me a while because I just kept thinking of all the terrible experiences I had with contact centers as a user. I'm like, I don't want this to be something I have to deal with as in my job now. I'm covering this, but I got it because I'm like, okay, Cisco, Zoom, RingCentral, they're really good at moving video and voice through networks and pointing it at the right person at the right time. That's what video conferencing is. That's what chat is. And that's what CC is. So, of course, they're all going to be able to make great CC solutions. I get it. I'm in. I'm all in. But then I saw what Tim was just describing, which is, well, like at Zoomtopia. Someone opens up their Zoom app, the same Zoom app that I have, and they had a tab there that said CC that I don't have. And they open it, and there's the contact center, and now you're an agent, and it's everything you'd expect from a Zoom contact center. It's nice and clean, and they're all pretty good now. I'm giving Zoom props, but they all should get props. They're all good. And it says, a customer's being sent to you. Here's their history, depending on how good the AI is, right? Here's their customer journey. Here's their history. Here's their problem. Here's how we suggest you respond. It's helping you out. But then, and this is what you were getting to, if it's, I have a real problem that AI can't help me out with here. I need to bring in Fred from accounting. Boop, you go over to your chat tab and you say, hey, Fred, I need your help over here. It was magical, and they can all do that. And yes, it's more than just, let's all get it all from Cisco because we use Cisco. It's like, no, I want these two things in the same app. I don't think it'll be nearly as miserable to be an agent. I think it's a tough job. And I think it's going to get a lot better for them with these tools.
It is. I think what we find is AI will take a lot of those transaction calls, those high volume, low value calls. I need to change my address. I need to change my phone number. I've got a billing inquiry. What we find is the rise of the super agent, where the call handling time goes up because they have to be very expert in providing advice or support on very specific customer cases. So what you'll find is perhaps the call handling time will go up if indeed people do phone into a contact center. But that will be complemented by these back-end sort of staff that can help hopefully resolve issues in one call.
Yeah, a lot of calls will just be handled a lot easier. It's I'm waiting for them to make contact centers better. It's finally happening. It's something to be happy about. Let's see. Let's look at the next point here. The UC&C market is rapidly evolving, and vendors must adapt to changing customer needs and preferences. Perhaps we could talk about something about the rise in interest of, co-creation workspaces such as Notion. I was thinking about this. Microsoft Loop, right? Is that what they're calling?
Yeah, exactly. We've got Notion, we got Coda, we got Microsoft Loop, we got Zoom Docs, all of these asynchronous ways of working where if you've got a distributed non-geographical team, so teams in Singapore, Australia, UK, and the US, how difficult is it for everyone to be available at the right time to jump on a meeting? UCAS market, we seem to be obsessed with meetings. Let's have another meeting. Let's have another meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Asynchronous ways of working. And what I mean by that is I can contribute to a piece of information or share some data or ideas in my time zone. Someone else can contribute in their time zone. We can all come together within this unique canvas, for want of a better word, or
I was
or
about
document.
to say canvas.
In order to collaborate. And what's great about these is some of these co-creation workspaces integrate with other databases. So you can pull in data from other fields. You can combine task management in a living component that you can embed in an email or chat session or a document. It's really going to help us add a new, different dynamic. It's not just going to be all about the UC part of unified communications. We're going to talk about the small c in 2024, the collaboration. So it's going to be unified communications and collaboration. And I have a feeling there's going to be more of an emphasis on the collaboration, not just better ways of doing meetings.
Yeah, I love this kind of solution. I loved it ever since I saw it demoed like 5 to 10 years ago at Enterprise Connector Infocom on very expensive hardware-based solutions at the time that the world was not ready for. And I said, okay, this is too expensive and the world's not ready for it. But I love this concept. It's a canvas, and I think of them. You're calling them co-creation workspaces because I like that.
Yeah.
But I think of the format that they take as a canvas format. And it's this persistent canvas online, and I can just like leave a note there for Tim to check out later, or report, or my notes on his report, or I mean, it's just a persistent workspace. And most of the tools that we've been creating have been sort of virtualized versions of what we had in the workplace. Word is a typewriter. Yeah, OneDrive is a file cabinet. We never had anything like this. This is
a whiteboard is now a digital whiteboard, but this is more than a digital whiteboard without people trying to draw a horrible tic-tac-toe in a product demo of a digital whiteboard that's been wheeled out in front of people.
Digital whiteboards also haven't seen their full potential. There's more potential there, but this is something so new and so exciting, and it's so perfect for what's just happening with the world at this time, which is we're embracing hybrid. We're embracing flexible work. So we're embracing the fact that I sometimes work at 3 a.m. on a Sunday, and I'm not going to wake up anyone on my team, but I'm not going to let that idea just float out of my head. I need a canvas to put it on somewhere, not just that I can work on it and then remember to share it in a meeting that, like Tim said, we don't need to have. I just need to do the work. I need to share the work. And I really hope that these finally catch on. I think it's time. Notion, Loop, they're all very compelling.
They are, and of course, across multiple devices. So it can be a web browser, it can be any device, it can be your mobile phone, which is fantastic.
Oh, and Zoom Docs.
Exactly, Zoom Docs.
We need to keep them in the conference just because the name throws us. Zoom Canvas. Oh, they should call it Zoom Canvas.
Now that would be great. Maybe that's one for product development. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sending some note to AI. Remind me later to send this to my friends at Zoom. So I need my AI. Yeah, that would actually work, Zoom Canvas. All right, on to our last topic. I sometimes our streams go long, and I'm just excited for it to be Friday. I don't want to end the conversation. I always enjoy talking to you, but I'm ready for it to be Friday. The concept of bring your own meeting is becoming increasingly popular, mainly due to the rise of hybrid work and the use of various meeting solutions by both employees and customers.
Yeah, so what we mean in this respect is that people come in with their laptops, they want to connect to a meeting room, utilize the screen, perhaps you've got some ceiling mics and speakers and clearly the video bar. You don't want to necessarily be tied into one vendor solution because, of course, if you're a large organization, you might be dealing with partners and customers, and it's like, well, they're using WebEx, we're using Zoom, they're using Microsoft Teams, they're using RingCentral. I can't change, I can't reboot my devices to be able to have all of those. So what I'll do is I'll leverage my laptop or the device that I've got, and I will sort of disintermediate all of those different vendors, and we'll make the hardware in the meeting room open.
Yeah, ClickShare has Barco has a new ClickShare that supports this, and it's impressive to me because one of the first rules of video conferencing is no wireless. Sorry, no wireless, but it's a powerful enough wireless connection, and it's I don't have anything, but it's a little button with a wire coming out of it, and you stick it into your laptop, and they've had these for years. You press the magic red button, and whatever's on your laptop is up on the screen behind you. Okay, very popular. We all love it. Great for sharing. But now, if my laptop is running Teams or Zoom or WebEx or whatever, the meeting goes up there, and it doesn't just bring the screen up there. If I have a cool video bar with a better camera than what's in the laptop, it somehow knows to use that camera and to use those speakers and to use the good microphone. So I'm getting, because I haven't shown off yet. I'd love to show off at least once a stream. We got to show off our fancy schmancy executive boardroom. In a boardroom like this, laptop audio and laptop video, you kidding me? I want a premium experience, and I'm willing to pay for it. And I have really good speakers and a really good camera. So being able to, you'd think it'd be easy, but it really hasn't been easy to just use the video conferencing on your camera with this stuff.
I think the other thing that a lot of vendors need to do next year is to um, educate more.
Mm.
So if you look at Microsoft Teams and other sort of services out there, they have a companion mode. So it amazes me the amount of people that walk into a meeting with their laptop, open up, put it on their desk, and you can't see their face. It's obscured by a video. However, you can go in with a mobile phone. You can join the meeting. You don't use the audio and video from your mobile phone, but you can chat. You can use the Q&A part. You can share reactions. You can like. So so many people aren't aware that you can do that. And I think that a lot of vendors are missing out on a trick. You know, let's show people how to best meeting etiquette. Maybe you need to come out with an idea. Some of these vendors that may be listening, you know, here the top 10 tips of improving your meeting experience.
That's a
and it's
great
not
tip.
just about new technology. It's about how to leverage the stuff that you've already got, because a lot of vendors do a really bad job of training and sort of showing how to use the features.
Vendors, and I'll give myself blame as well as part of the analyst community. I used to do a lot more best practice stuff, but the technology has been evolving so fast. We've just been focusing on what's happening with the technology and the pandemic and our changing world. There's been a lot to cover, so hasn't been as much best practices, but we really need it because, you know, in a room like this, what happens is the people who are remote, it didn't matter when it was one or two people who were remote, but now it's four or five, it's half the people remote. They're chatting with each other. They're sharing links, they're sharing files, they're sharing stuff, and us in the room, we're not. And our options are put up a laptop, which some companies are doing, and then, you know, I'm hiding behind my laptop. Yeah, people don't know. There's things like companion mode. You can be in it. It's still not ideal because I'm terrible at typing I'm slow at typing on this. It frustrates me. I want a keyboard. And we need, I don't know what we need. We need embedded. I'm looking at our table in front of us. Something in the table, maybe something. We haven't come up with a solution, but
we need VR headsets. That's what we need.
There we go.
We all need. No, maybe not. I'm still very skeptical on VR, but that has its place, of course, in live meetings and webinar events and town halls. But I'm not going to see in 2024 all of a sudden a huge uptake in VR headsets. We can't even get decent quality headphones to use on calls, let alone VR headsets.
But, that being said, if Apple wants to send Tim and I their new headsets, we will be happy to try them out and to try to do a virtual live stream.
Well, that would be a challenge. I mean, I'd love to see it Enterprise Connect or Zoomtopia or WebEx, the next Cisco event, some analyst sessions where we do get to reimagine what a webinar or a town hall could be in a virtual environment. I'm not sure that using the sort of ASDX keys to move my character around a virtual environment like a video game is going to really add anything to a team meeting, for example. But a memorable event where I'm watching things fly about and, you know, an immersive experience, that really will get my attention if I'm attending a town hall or a webinar.
Yeah, you know, I checked it out. It turns out that Microsoft did buy Blizzard, which is the company that creates World of Warcraft. So they do have the technology, do have understanding of how to do a virtual event. Events happen. I'm not going to go into it, but events happen in the World of Warcraft. If you pay, you're like, I have to be logged in on December 8th when the world event is going to happen, and people show up, and you feel like you're there with your fellow dwarves and elves. And this is getting embarrassing, but the idea is that I'm agreeing with what you're saying. Not for a Teams meeting, but for a special event to have your character in a world where you're walking around. Yeah, that could work depending on the audience. That could be a lot of fun. All right, should we end it? That's a fun note to end it on. Anything else we want to share with? I
don't think so. I'll be very interested in other people's predictions or understanding what they feel the year has got ahead of us. Of course, Enterprise Connect is coming up very quickly in March. Anyone listening to this session, of course, scour the internet for discount codes because there's some good deals to be had, I guess. But that's, of course, our next big event, industry event, I think. Is that correct, David?
Yeah, unless that you're doing ISE, which I consider optional.
Yeah, I'm not at that one.
No, me neither. I'll try to cover it remotely, but I don't think I'm going to make the big trip. But it's a great show, and all those who go, I'm sorry I'm not going to get to hang out with you this year. All right, so we have 2 more streams for the year. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Oh, got to get my mouse. Here we go.